You're listening to the Multiverse Fancast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
All right, then. On with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fancast. If you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and basically anywhere you get your podcasts, which is pretty much everywhere at this point. I am one of your hosts, Paul, and with me in the studio is Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I am doing well, sir. How are you?
Why are you British?
Why am I not?
Okay. And via Zoom, we have Rob. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I am Zoom today because it is about to start coming down snow, and I didn't want to risk the roads.
Yeah, so if we're recording, it's Friday the 28th for posterity, and we're supposed to be having a huge nor'easter, so we wanted to... Yeah, Ronnie's doing it in quotes over there. But yeah, so we wanted
our governor has actually declared a state of emergency for our county right now.
I feel like we've just been in a state of emergency for like the last year and a half. But anyway, I digress.
It's been more than that.
I digress on that one. But we're doing something fun today because we wanted to do a topic, and we have a lot of fun with our top 10 list, because top 10 lists are very subjective, but at the same time, it's fun because we get to argue with each other a little bit, but also kind of see other facets of each other's interests and fandoms and stuff like that. So we're actually not doing news today because there is a severe lack of news. So womp womp. But what we are going to do is we're going to jump right into the topic. We'll take a little break halfway through, and then we'll finish up. So today's topic was top 10 superhero movie moments. All right? So or scenes if you're Paul. But anyway.
I went with moments, as that was stated. So
I have a little bit of both.
Mine's just going to be the end credit scene for every movie now. It's just, you know what? We're done now.
Yeah.
No, but so we wanted to do a list, like I said, something fun and just something really just like those chill-inducing moments of what makes these superhero movies so special. And some of them are... I don't want to say predictable, at least on my end. I can't speak for it. We did not review each other's lists. We did not share lists with each other. I hand wrote mine on a piece of paper.
Really?
Yeah. I find it much easier for me to handwrite things. So for me, that was just the way that I did. Ronnie was typing away as we were getting ready to do the show.
That is not... that's semi-true. Originally, we said top 5, and I had 6, so I had to add a couple more. We then decided 10. So.
Yes, we do have some honorable mentions, which I think we're going to do at the end.
Yep.
All right. And then, we'll debate with each other, but for the most part, we're going to go person by person. They're going to say their list starting at number 10 all the way down to their number 1 favorite superhero movie moment. And then, if we want to discuss a movie moment, some of them might repeat. If they repeat, cool. If not, no big deal.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Ronnie over here. Ronnie's going to list his top 10, saving his honorable mention because he went from 6 to 11.
And then you guys both had 11, so I felt I needed to be even.
Ours go to 11.
Nobody came with the same amount of numbers. But even better, during the pre-show, I said that I have 11, and Rob specifically starts making fun of me for having 11, just to then tell me he also had 11. So I'm going to, you know what? I have 12. I lied. I'm just going to do this now. I have 2 honorable mentions at the end. All right. So top 10.
Ready for
superhero movie moments. Ronnie, you are up first, number 10.
Number 10. I have the opening credits / the highway scene of Deadpool. That is my number 10 moment right there. Is that whole opening credit and sequence in Deadpool.
With him listening to Shoop?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
I'm seeing faces, and you guys are like, "Who?"
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that because there's such a big story behind all of that.
Yeah, I will argue it a little bit though because it's a scene that keeps getting broken up with flashbacks. So like the scene actually goes on for almost like a third of the movie.
Yes and no. Stop. This is my thing.
That's fine.
I like the fact that, and for those who know, Deadpool was something that wasn't going to get made, and Ryan Reynolds, for him, it was always a passion project. And then he and what's the director's name?
T.J. Miller?
No. The director, T.J. Miller's his sidekick. the two of them were friends, and they decided to do like test footage. So they did that opening scene where he jumps off the
Tim Miller. Tim Miller.
Tim Miller. That's it. Where he jumps off into the car and like beats everyone up, and then that ended up making its way into the movie. So I the fact that it's got all that baggage to it actually makes it that a great superhero moment.
Yes.
So I would agree with you. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. All right. So that was number 10. Number 9, I have the warehouse scene in Batman vs Superman.
That's on my list.
I figured it would be. I figured.
All right, now is it the PG-13 version or the R-rated version?
The R-rated. I think you actually see Batman in that fight scene. You haven't seen him really being Batman in a fight scene ever until that moment. I think it really shows what Batman can actually do.
You got to see Rob. I wish people could see Rob right now. He's got like his smile twitch, like he's about to school us.
Yeah,
because you see him breaking his one rule like 46 times. Batman is straight up murdering people in that.
It's almost as bad as taking a bomb and putting it in a clown's pants and then smiling as he explodes. Michael Keaton's Batman killed a lot of people.
Fair point.
He blew up Ace Chemicals with all those guys in it.
True.
So like Batman has killed. Like even
but has Christian Bale's Batman killed?
There are people that argue that him letting Ra's al Ghul die was just as bad. You know, the whole I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Like he let him die.
Right. That's true.
So it's murder by proxy.
Yep. All right. Moving on. Number 8. I have the pencil trick from Dark Knight.
Solid. Oh, what? Yeah. Dang it. Oh, I didn't even think of that one.
Actually, that's my number 4.
Is it?
Yes, it is. The pencil trick.
All right. Nice.
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear.
As much as I love the opening scene, I really think that scene is the real intro to the Joker. So so kudos.
Agreed.
Well done.
Thank you.
Deep cut.
All right. What was that? That was 8, right? Number 7. I have really the moment, but the entire scene beginning, the final battle in Endgame. I have at number 7, but from it specifically on your left. Yeah, I think that would be the moment, but that entire like when they're coming through the portals and everything is just amazing. But if I had to narrow it down, it would be when you hear on your left. I think that's one of the best moments in that movie.
That almost made my list and that was one I debated for a while, but it ultimately didn't. But I wouldn't fault anyone who did put that on their list.
Yeah, good, because I put that on my list. Well, a specific part of it. Yeah. So as I'm sure people will be able to imagine, but yeah, that whole like you can dissect that whole scene. By itself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6.
Oh, this is where you started.
Yeah. Right.
With 6.
I have Iron Man snap.
Okay.
All right.
I think that just gave a nice ending to the Tony Stark story. And, he's one of those that was very selfish, at least portrayed very selfishly throughout our entire view. And then for him to be the one to snap, I think it kind of gives him a little bit more character. So that's why he's up there on my list and why he's, almost towards the top of the pack. All right.
Okay, very good.
All right. Top 5. Here
we go.
Number 5. Wonder Woman in No Man's Land.
That's one of my honorable mentions.
I think there's we finally get to see like a woman like taking charge. We didn't really get you have Black Widow, but she's kind of like in the background and everything, but you finally get this woman that's doing, at least at that time, manly things. And for her to be the only person out there and for her to be a woman, I think just elevates that moment.
And I think
I have that. Go ahead.
I think that scene is even more empowered by the fact that they didn't do the easy trope.
Yeah.
It would have been like when we saw that movie in theaters and, Steve Trevor goes, it's called No Man's Land. It means no man can cross it. It would have been very easy for them to Lord of the Rings that and be like, I am no man. But had she said that, it would have just been
so hacky.
cringy and just derivative and placating almost. But the fact that she just turns around, she's like, no, it's what I'm going to do because it's the right thing to do.
I love it. The specific moment for me is the moment where they have the shot on the top of the ladder and you see her just start to come up, and it's a very tight shot on her hands and face as it's coming out, and the expression she has, and it's that specific moment that it just gives me chills. But that was my honorable mention.
Awesome. All right, number 4, the interrogation scene. That is number 4. I think that, to be honest with you, this is the weird part. I couldn't decide which one between that or the pencil trick, where I wanted it. But it's such a far gap in between them. But like, I was like, I don't know which one to do. Either one was 4, one was down towards the bottom. But I was like, I think I just like this a little bit more than the pencil trick.
For me, I love the interrogation scene. For me, I dismissed it because I'm like, that's a whole scene and it's long, whereas the pencil trick is a moment.
Yeah, right.
Where, it's one of those. For me, this is a list of one of those moments where you grab someone and go, "Come here, you got to see this."
Yeah.
And that pencil trick is just, it gets me every single time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right, number 3.
Top 3. Here we go.
Top 3.
Cap wielding Mjolnir is my number 3. I think just we knew he could wield it. We kind of saw, but just when he gets that and you just see Thor's face light up, literally light up, I think is just great.
That I will say that one's not on my list, but that was another one I debated putting on the list.
Yeah.
And I didn't, because I was like, I want to try to go with ones that are that maybe not a lot of people would know or remember too much, because that one's a great one though. I really wholeheartedly endorse that choice, because
Endgame, and we talked about it in our Endgame episode, Endgame was just such a culmination of so many character stories, and just like it was an ending for a lot of our characters, and they all got their due in some way, especially Captain America and Iron Man.
All right, top two here we go. These two, I don't know which one I wanted one and which one I wanted two. All right,
they're interchangeable.
Interchangeable. We have Thor dropping into Wakanda in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And
is that to the Immigrant Song?
No, that's it should have
been.
That
just a fan edit?
He does Immigrant Song in Ragnarok. After he shocks Hela and he jumps and he lands on the Rainbow Bridge.
There is a fan edit out there on YouTube, then, that's what I'm thinking of, where they dubbed in Immigrant Song, because they're like, that should have happened right there.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah,
but that is interchangeable with the Spider-Man train scene.
Wow, deep! You're going Spider-Man 2.
Whoa, that's a great choice. I didn't think of that one.
I think just that whole moment with him with the train, and then they're carrying him through the train, his body and everything.
Yeah, we all know how much Rob loves Jesus metaphors in his comic book movies. He'll make fun of the Superman ones all day, but he's like, man, that Spider-Man scene.
If there's a martyrdom image in there, I am all for it.
But those two, to me, are they can be interchangeable as 1 and 2. I could not decide. It was a flip of a coin that made one and made them 2.
See, what's really cool about this is you guys can't see it, but like Rob's having the reaction right now, and this isn't like, I'm not trying to make fun of you, Rob, but like as soon as Ronnie said that, like Rob was just like, oh yes, and like just his whole, and that's the point. That's what this episode was supposed to be about. Those moments that make us go, holy word, I can only say on MF Uncensored. Like that's the point. It like superhero movies, for some reason, nowadays they're much more culturally acceptable, right? They're much more in the public lexicon. It used to be a death sentence to do a superhero movie. You got your Howard the Duck and your Steel.
I mean, just listen to our last episode.
What was our last episode?
The Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah. Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Yeah. But like nowadays, there are still some, like Scorsese's gone on record more than once saying that superhero movies are dumb. But like there's such epic cinema moments, and I can't wait to talk more, because now like I'm just sitting here going, man, I want to watch all these now.
I know.
But All right, so
Thank God for YouTube.
yeah, I know, right? I was actually watching clips before
Yeah,
Ronnie got here
me
just
too.
to like get myself like jazzed.
Yeah.
So I've been taking notes as I've been doing this too because I
Yeah.
keep thinking of more. So
Mhm.
now my
Yeah.
honorable mentions is like 7. But so my number 10 was Batman versus Bane in the Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises.
Now, is that the first time when
The
he breaks
first
his back?
time when he breaks his back. And
Yeah.
for a movie that I really just don't enjoy, like The Dark Knight Rises is not my favorite superhero movie. It's passable. It does what it's supposed to do, but like that moment, and if you want to say moment, it's when he actually does break his back because we were shocked that Nolan actually did it.
Yeah.
But also
Yeah.
that whole scene is just like perfect. You know, it's Bane tormenting him, you know, like the voice and the muscularity and, you know, you think darkness is your ally. Like just some of the most quotable lines happen in that scene. And then when he finally, you know, when I wondered what would break first, your spirit, and then he lifts him up and he says your body and does it. Like it's a huge comic book moment that they brought to the big screen. And,
I am so depressed when I think of that movie because it is a profoundly stupid movie.
oh, absolutely.
Like it makes no sense at all. I was reading something the other day about that movie about how everyone in so many of these superhero movies has some sort of a plan and some sort of thematic element to their psychology and their ideas. And Bane is just nothing. Like what does he stand for? What does he want? You know, at least with the Joker, he's, you know, the idea of introducing chaos and how, you know, just the whole bad day idea and the whole, you know, that making a choice is actually killing. Like at least he stands for something. Whereas Bane is just, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what he
was
wanted.
Talia's
Yeah.
lapdog. That was it. He turned into Talia's
Yeah.
lapdog, and unfortunately, Talia was a terrible villain in this movie. But moving on, number 9 is "Bring Me Thanos" from Thor's entrance.
Bring me Thanos.
It is like the perfect moment. It's the first time in that movie where the Avengers start to reassemble, and it was just like that. We think that the tide is turned in the movie, and you know, it was awesome, and it was really cool. I wanted to put this Thanos' snap in at this spot, but in all honesty, like that's such a like it is a holy crap moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like it doesn't make me feel good. It's still so
Right.
depressing. You know, I don't feel good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when the Avengers theme finally plays and, you know, the Stormbreaker's flying, just like wrecking guys, and then the creepy Bruce Banner CGI when he's like, you guys are all screwed now. And it's like just a floating head. So, but like when he's, you know, says, bring me Thanos, and then he just jumps and Rocket and Groot are running with him. Like, man,
Yeah.
just such a cool scene. All right, this is where Rob's gonna get annoyed with me because there's a lot of DC there's a lot of DC on this list.
coming on.
Yeah, Rob's not gonna like this one. Well, actually, Rob might like this one. Superman's first flight in Man of Steel. When Superman gets his suit and he walks out of the Fortress of Solitude and Jor-El's monologuing and he tries to fly for the first time, and you see him trying and he's laughing, and then he falls, and then I really do enjoy when he does like the fist to the ground and the things start moving around and he just shoots up into the air and he just takes off at such powerful speeds, and he's smiling, and they actually put in the George Reeves whistling air sound as he's flying. So
really? I didn't know that.
When George Reeves would fly in the original Superman show, like, you know, on the green screen and the mat and all that, they would have like the wind whistling to, you know, help create the illusion, and they put that in there as an homage to that. And it's just a really fun scene, and it showcases this new Superman for a new age, and you know, it's our first shot of him in the suit. It's our first shot of him, you know, flying and just being Superman in a movie where I'll argue he's not exactly Superman the whole time. So for me, that first flight, and I had trouble between this one and the one in Justice League where he flies with the black suit, because that's a great scene with Jonathan Kent and Jor-El both doing their lines, and then it builds up to him, you know, and of course Rob's favorite Jesus imagery of him in front of the sun with his arms out. But for me,
I am embarrassed.
But if it was Spider-Man on the train, but yeah. Now this next one, Rob is going to argue with me. He's not going to be happy with it. Superman versus the Justice League in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
You have a lot of scenes, huh?
I won't argue that it's not a good moment, but I would argue that it's just, I don't know how iconic it is.
I think
the iconic moment of it
is when he sees the
I know what you're
Flash.
going to say.
is when he sees the Flash. Yeah, when
I was
everything
gonna say
stopped
that.
and the Flash is running and his eye just turns,
His side eye.
Yeah.
and the Flash is like,
Oh shit.
oh no.
Yeah. I will say the Superman sort of side eye to the Flash is like, all right, that is so super cool.
I again, another scene that I debated for another scene in the movie was when Steppenwolf's about to hit the Cyborg and Superman drops it, because we knew Superman was coming, just like how he did in the other version. But I really liked in this one, like the axe lands on him, and that's from the comics too. Like Steppenwolf actually hitting Superman with the axe, and it just stops, and Superman's like, "What are you doing?" And it was really cool. But that scene of him fighting the Justice League, and he does that side eye to the Flash. Chef's kiss. It's still in both versions. It's great. I can't say it. Like it's just when Superman's scary, it just adds a whole new layer.
Yeah.
But all right, moving down. One that has been mentioned is the Joker interrogation.
Moving up.
Okay.
Oh, moving up, moving down. It's the same. You know,
I don't know if we're talking about DC. We're moving down.
Wow.
I don't know. We just mentioned Dark Knight. That's like
All right,
top
Dark Knight
cream of
is
the
a
crop
step up.
for DC.
And I
step
will
up.
say that my number one is not a DC moment.
Okay.
But for me, the Joker interrogation is just a beautifully done. Even if it's just, if you want to pick a moment from that scene, when he turns on the lights and Batman's just standing behind him, it's I will argue that Christian Bale's Batman is not the best interpretation of Batman. We don't remember the Dark Knight trilogy for Christian Bale's Batman.
No.
He is the butt of most of the jokes. You know, like those are the jokes. Like people remember
mumbling man.
Yeah, mumble man. People remember the Joker. People even
You
remember
wanted me. Here I am.
Yeah. So for me, that one scene is one of the few very Batman scenes. But again, he still loses his cool to the Joker, which is something is Batman Batman doesn't lose his cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now I would argue there are several moments in that interrogation scene that are iconic, like the flipping on the lights and then Batman slamming his head into the desk, him flipping the Joker onto the desk when he flips him upside down and Joker just starts laughing, and then finally at the end there where he starts pummeling him and Joker says, "You have nothing." What does he say? You have nothing with which you can...
Nothing to threaten me with. Nothing to do with all of your strength.
Yeah.
Actually, I would argue in that scene, my favorite moment is when he takes the chair and he locks the door. And you see Commissioner Gordon running because he knows what's about to happen and he doesn't want Batman to cross that line. And it's a great moment, you know, just him putting that. So I guess I have scenes with moments in them.
Yeah, right.
I guess that's where we're going. Coming up next is the Civil War airport fight scene.
What number is this?
This is number 5.
I think.
5.
My number. So I'm in my top 5.
See.
And if I'm going to pick one moment from it, it's going to be when Spider-Man makes his entrance.
See, this is where I'm going to argue, but not argue with you. I think the scene, the whole fight scene is like what feels like 15 minutes.
Okay.
But for me, it probably is. But the thing with that scene is there's so many moments in it. Like an honorable mention of mine was Underoos.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, then you have the whole joke with the Star Wars with the
walking
things. Yeah.
You know, I would actually say though. Oh God.
I was gonna say I have a moment from that airport scene, but I'm gonna save it.
Okay.
And so far, no one's mentioned it yet. So far, I'm all right.
Then I won't say what I was going to say because I was going to say a moment.
Oh, go ahead.
A moment from the airport scene that probably might. Underoos wins because Spider-Man is in my top 5 favorite superheroes. So, but I think the real moment of that scene is Scott Lang turning into Giant Man.
Ah, damn it, that was it.
That's why I didn't want to say it. I had a feeling. But fun fact, that was spoiled for me. That was one thing that was spoiled because of the toys.
Yep, Lego.
Yep, Lego released it, and there were promo pictures everywhere, so everybody knew that Giant Man was going to be.
I will say, I was going to say this about it, that Paul Rudd is just a national treasure.
Oh yeah, we have to protect him.
He is so fantastic as Ant-Man. He's so inspired in casting. And when he hits that button and gets huge and his eyes just go wide, he goes, oh, you get chills at that moment because it's funny and exciting at the same time.
And then Tony Stark probably, even though I love Spider-Man's reaction, Tony Stark's is even better. Does anybody else have any shocking and unknown abilities? I'm open to suggestions.
Yep.
But all right, number 4. You've got me, who's got you? The helicopter scene from Superman the movie.
Yep.
That is, for a lot of people, myself included, and I don't want to speak for you guys, but that was one of my first superhero scenes ever. And boy, does it still get me. Mm-hmm. When Lois Lane is hanging out of that helicopter and he's looking for a phone booth, like to have a scene where Christopher Reeve nails it completely, and then to have a scene with levity in it too. Like he looks at the payphone with no booth and he's just like, no. And he keeps going. And even better, he runs by a pimp and that pimp is like, say, Jim, woo, that's a bad outfit. And he just goes, excuse me. Like so polite and just with so much authority. Like Christopher Reeve is one of the most perfect superhero castings of all time. Yeah. And that will always be true. And say what you will about Superman 3 and 4 and kind of where the series floundered. Mm-hmm. It was never him. He was never the issue.
No, he was always 100%.
That darn Marlon Brando.
What's in that? I know what you're joking about. Oh, he was terrible in Superman 1. We did an episode of Cinematic Adventures on The Godfather, and we talked about Marlon Brando and how like off the rails he got. But that's Cinematic Adventures.
Oh, off the rails with Superman?
Well, for Superman, he refused to learn any of his lines.
Right.
The lines were written on like the baby's diaper. Like they found places.
He doesn't.
Yeah, he was just terrible to work with.
He does that all the time.
He got top billing. He got paid a ridiculous amount of money. He couldn't pronounce Krypton. So yeah.
Sorry, I threw us completely off track.
No, that's right. Have you heard what he said when Richard Donner asked him what his motivation for the scene was in Superman? What he said?
No.
He says, "I'm imagining that I'm a green suitcase."
Oh yes, I did hear that. That's right.
And on a side note, also when he was filming, he was notorious for doing this, for not learning his lines. For his scenes in On the Waterfront, where he's opposite Rod Steiger, he had his lines taped to Rod Steiger's forehead.
Yep. So ridiculous.
He's
all
such
right,
a jerk.
Top 3. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The Batman warehouse scene. It is.
Wow.
It is like Ronnie said it. It's pure Batman. It is like the most Batman you'll ever get, and just so powerful. And if you want to pick a moment, it's a weird moment for me. It's when he punches the one guy into the floor. Yeah. Like it is just like the most pure, brutish. Like The Dark Knight Returns has a great line in it where it's Batman's first night back as being Batman, and 2 cops roll up on him, and he cripples a guy in front of the cop, and the cop's like, "You just like, what did you?" He thinks he killed him. He's like, "You just killed that guy." He's like, "Oh no, he'll walk. He'll just never forget." And like this is the Batman where we're at at the start of Batman vs Superman, that brutal Batman. And yes, the killing thing is an issue, and I understand the killing thing is an issue. Batman he brandishes the firearm in this, when he kills KG Beast, who, fun fact, he killed in the comics too, but then they retconned it because it was so brutal. He locked KG Beast in a bunker in the sewer with no food or water and just locked him in there and left him to die.
I have heard that, yeah.
They retconned it in a later issue where they said that, he sent down the police to go get him. But he legit stone cold killed KG Beast in that. But it was just like seeing him using the batarangs, using gadgets, very like Arkham Knight type style, and just it was the Batman. It was the Batman that looks like he could stand toe to toe with some of the other characters.
For that reason, I'm looking forward to the new Batman because they seem to have a very similar vibe with that.
Yeah, I had a lot of Batman moments, but I didn't want to take too many from one film. Because I could say, Wonder Woman's first appearance in that movie. Yeah. When they do the music and all that. Or even I'll argue the Batman vs Superman actual fight scene up until the Martha thing. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's beautifully done too.
Yep.
I almost put Martha in my top 10.
I was gonna do it as my number one as a joke.
Remember, this is iconic moment, and I got to say, for as much as we make fun of that, boy, do we remember it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not for the right reasons, but we remember it.
Yeah. All right, number 2. This is from the most recent Marvel movie.
Ooh.
The scene where the 3 Spider-Men in Spider-Man No Way Home have their talk about working as a team, and then when they put on their masks, run down that platform, and they all jump, Yahoo! And they all do their own distinctive cheer, and they're swinging with each other, and they land on the Statue of Liberty. Man, if you didn't get chills from that, like, because
our theater was kind of cold,
yeah, that theater was cold. It was hard to hear anything in our theater because everybody it hasn't been since Endgame.
I debated that one actually. That one almost made my list.
And I debated which Spider-Man scene from that movie because we could talk spoilers now. They've posted official pictures at this point. Everybody knows. But I wanted to mention when Andrew Garfield pops in because that was like the first everybody freaked out. Mm-hmm. But or when they all meet together, but it was that scene. That is the scene, the Spider-Man scene for me. Like,
I asked Lauren about this, which one, what were her top moments, and one of the ones she said was the scene where it's the 3 Peters and they're trying to figure out who Ned is talking to, and they keep pointing at each other.
Yep.
That was one of her top moments.
Well, because, like the famous meme of Spider-Man pointing at himself.
Right.
Yeah. But apparently, fun fact, I just heard this today, Andrew Garfield was the one that suggested it when they were on the scaffolding that they all start pointing at each other.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, the Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. See. All right.
Top moment. Here we go.
My top moment. And this was a tough
number
one.
one.
Number 1. Avengers Assemble.
Mm.
It will always, and I know it's like the easy one. It's the most obvious one, but we built and built and built to that moment to see Marvel characters up the wazoo. Howard the Duck was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to see the Ravagers, the Asgardians, the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it was just legendary.
Yeah.
And
now I have to ask, why that scene and not say the spin around 360 of the Avengers and Avengers?
That's an honorable mention.
Because I thought you were going to go with that as your number 1.
I debated it. I really, really, truly did, because that scene has inspired so many other similar scenes. Like when we talked about Suicide Squad, we talked about their circle shot. We talked about the Justice League, their Trinity shot, and all that. But for me, when this was a tough one. I thought about it. Like, that circle scene is always going to be ingrained in my lexicon and my favorite scenes. But it was, when I came down to it, I really just, Avengers Assemble, man. It just gets you.
Yeah, the circle shot is an honorable mention for me.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to start off with Rob's top 10, honorable mentions, and Fan Feedback Friday. But first, a quick break.
Today's episode is brought to you by Raise Energy Drinks from Rep Sports. Whether you're trying to crush your afternoon workout or just need a little extra pick-me-up, Raise Energy is just the boost that you're going to need. So if you go to repsports.com and any product that you order, enter the code MISFIT89 at checkout to receive 15% off. Anything that you guys buy from that store helps our network grow, and we fully appreciate everything you guys do. That's MISFIT89 at checkout, repsports.com.
All right, we are back. I hope everybody had a lovely break. I hope everybody had a nice Raise Energy. I myself had an Apollo today. Ronnie's doing actually, Ronnie does have one.
I can't even joke. One right here from our insider pack. It was the caramel apple.
It was surprising. It was much better than it should have been.
Yes, it definitely is. I would have probably preferred a little bit more of an apple taste. However, it's very delicious, though.
For those of you guys
ask Ronnie, at this time of, because we're recording in the evening, and this time in the evening, what does Raise do for you? What exactly are the effects of it at this hour?
It gets me through this. I was at work before this.
It helps me put up with you two.
Exactly.
No, that's the whiskey you're drinking, Rob.
No, I was feeling a little like down and exhausted, so to kind of give me a little bit more of a boost and be a little more cheerful and everything during the podcast, I was like, you know what, let me bring one with me because I know it's going to be a long night recording as well. So
I usually have one
why.
around like 4:30 just to kind of. It's funny because like people think we just put the promo in there just for the sake of putting the promo, but in all honesty, like I use a lot of their products. I know you,
Yeah.
Ronnie, and I have talked. I'll probably maybe I'll do an article about it.
Yeah.
At this point,
Not just a hair club member, I'm also a client.
Yep.
their best clients. But anyway, so we're moving back into top 10 superhero movie moments or movie moments in scenes, or maybe just scenes if you're Paul. And we have Rob's list coming up next. Rob, hit it.
All right. So I did mention my bonus.
You muted him, right?
My merit.
Should have mentioned it.
I did mention my honorable mention, which was Wonder Woman coming out of the trenches. And I will tell you that I only have and counting that one, I only have 3 DC ones on here. Number 10. Ready? Avengers assemble for shawarma.
Oh, the shawarma scene. All right, that's fair.
When they all sit down and they have their shawarma. And I know you're going to argue that's not iconic. Oh, really? Is that why they created a Lego set from it? It is that iconic. And I will tell you, it introduced me to shawarma. I now know what it is, and I went. His line of "I don't know what it is, but I know I want to try it" is a line I use all the time. Maybe that should be what's on a shirt. But also, like, shawarma I didn't know what it was, and I tried it as a result, and now I have it whenever I can. It is absolutely delicious. If you don't know what shawarma is, it's sort of like the Middle Eastern version of a gyro, of a Greek gyro. So, all right, number 9. Something we already said, Ant-Man grows into Giant Man. His moment of excitement with Paul Rudd just playing off of the comedy of it, and then him following it up with, does anyone have any orange slices?
Yeah. He's amazing.
Right, number 8, one that no one mentioned so far.
Oh, all right.
It is Spider-Man from Spider-Man's Homecoming. It is the moment that Peter Parker gets trapped in the rubble, where he is under a building, and for the very first time, you just start hearing him shout, "Help, somebody help me." And you get a sense of that scared teenager that he is taking on this adult role. And it's that moment that Peter Parker becomes this grown-up man superhero where he works his way out of it, and that's his hero moment.
Spider-Man has always been a story about a teenager. It's a very coming of age type story where it's, Peter Parker's a teenager taking on, like Rob said, taking on a very adult responsibility, and for Peter Parker
and great power.
Oh, shut up. It's funny how with great.
Is Ronnie going to pull an Uncle Ben after this show? Because I hope so.
Wow. He's going to make rice? That was a Ronnie joke, actually. I'm really sorry about that, everyone.
That was.
But it is the moment where, he is Spider-Man. He says, he starts calling himself Spider-Man. He said, "Come on, Spider-Man," and he does it. And it is great. It is a great scene.
Yeah. And the fact that Tony Stark, when he first asked him, he said, "So what are your name?" Like, Spider Lad, the kid Spider.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Not this onesie or not.
Yeah. What does Donald Glover say to him? "I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. I'm a man."
Number 7.
All right.
You'll be shocked to hear it. You've got me. Who's got you? It is
really?
Yes. It is. I actually have it written out here on my Google Doc from 1978 Superman, and I rewatched it yesterday. That scene, it's the first moment that Superman really makes himself known to the city, and it's that helicopter scene, which, gotta say, still holds up after all this time.
Surprisingly well, yeah.
Yes, and Lois Lane I gotta say, what's her name? Pulls off an incredible Lois Lane.
Margot Kidder.
She falls out. What's her name again?
Margot Kidder.
Right, Margot Kidder. I always get like Mariel Hemingway and Margot Kidder and all them mixed up.
Fair.
Yeah, where she falls and he catches her midway, and it is such a moment where he
easy miss.
The shock on her face, seeing that she's no longer falling, and how she responds to him. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6. I gotta say, it's from Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
And it is the moment when Bruce Banner eats the Bifrost. When he jumps out of the ship saying, like, You always want something like you always
Yep.
wanted to know my secret, and you expect him to land as Hulk, and he just lands face
Yeah.
first
Basically
into the dice
dies.
box
Yep.
and dies.
That's
I
great.
crack up every time I see that moment.
Mhm.
That's fair.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
On the flip side of that coin, number 5 is a moment that I think I tear up every single time. And I think it's a moment that isn't noticed too often. I wanted to pull something from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And at first I had the dance off, and then that got bumped down. And then I had the We Are Groot.
Right here. Honorable mention.
That's one of your honorable mentions? Yep. Yeah. I actually had that really high up there, and then I substituted it for this. Yondu is such an interesting character because he is so, you think he's more evil than he is, but then he turns out to be really protective.
Mhm.
And then he gets like completely disgraced in Guardians 2, where he is accused of dealing with children, and you feel so bad for him. And the Ravagers are, Sylvester Stallone and the Ravagers are always talking about how we would never like celebrate you, and no one will ever show up for you if you were to die. And then at the end, when, I'm tearing up actually, just talking about this. At the end, when Yondu does die,
Yep.
and they have the funeral, and the Ravagers show up and they shoot off the fireworks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the most emotional moments in so much of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then with James Gunn's brother, just seeing it, plastering himself up against the window and shouting, "Yeah! Yes," because he knows that Yondu is being celebrated for his life.
Yes.
Just an incredible moment. Number 4.
Because he's Mary Poppins.
I was tempted to put in the Mary Poppins, y'all. Number 4, one we mentioned, Dark Knight's the pencil trick.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna make it disappear.
Yep.
It's,
Number 3,
yeah.
I am shocked neither of you put this in your list. And this is all I'm going to say. The quote, "Before we get started, would anyone like to get out?"
So I debated. The elevator scene was definitely a big one for me.
Yeah.
And like even now, like it's very memey. Like there's been so many memes of him with that, but like it really is one of the best scenes, to the point where they homaged it in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will agree that is a tough one to not have on the list.
Yeah, and I wanted to like pick a specific moment, and it's that exact line, because it's that moment when Cap realizes everyone has turned against him.
Mm-hmm.
No one is on his side. All of these people have set him up, and he knows he's got to fight his way out of this facility. And saying that line is the complete admission of, okay, I know you guys are trying to corner me, but look, I'm giving you one last chance. And then he just
Pummels
beats them all to hell.
Yes, including the guy who played KG Beast. He is one of the goons.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now I'm thinking, oh, man, my honorable mention list is getting longer and longer.
Right?
No, I stopped at 5. I said no more writing.
Okay. Number 2, again, another one I'm shocked nobody mentioned. And it's from Avengers, the OG, where Hulk picks up Loki from the ankles and smashes him into the ground repeatedly.
That's number 11 for me.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I can remember sitting in the movie theater, and none of us knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone just being shocked and laughing hysterically, because it's, Loki gets up, he's like, "How dare you talk to me? I'm a god, you dull creature." And everyone thinks, Loki's going to pull something out, and then Hulk just obliterates him.
Like
God.
shatters his back. I think the only reason that scene didn't land on the list for me is because A, Thor Ragnarok did it even better somehow. And
Yes.
And also B, we had a negative experience seeing that in theaters because everybody went crazy about it and people were cheering and clapping. Then the Hulk says his line and we were all like, nobody heard him.
Beauty God. No.
So we were all
I
like,
remember not being able to
"No."
hear it either.
And it's funny because now when you watch Marvel movies, they pause at those moments. Like when Cap catches Mjolnir for the first time, they wait until Thor's line. Like they give him that time.
It's turned. Wow, Marvel movies have turned into theater where they're waiting for the audience reaction.
Oh yeah.
I have to say, I did debate putting Ragnarok on there in terms of the fight scene in the arena. Because originally I did have when Hulk smashes through and Thor screams yes.
He's a friend from work.
It's such an unexpected reaction to that.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it. Well, what came before that? And it wouldn't have been there if this hadn't been there.
Yep.
And then number one, it's the moment that I think everything culminates in after so many phases, and it brings forth together the final moment of a very selfish character. It's the exact moment when Tony snaps.
I thought he was going to say when Ryan Reynolds gets his Green Lantern ring.
Iron Man, when he snaps his fingers, because he knows he knows how this is gonna end.
Yeah.
Because he saw Doctor Strange put up his finger to say, this is the one way. So Tony knows he has to sacrifice himself. And it's funny too, because you think about Tony Stark from the earlier movies, he would have never sacrificed himself ever.
Too vain.
But knowing he's come this full character arc, it's such a beautiful moment.
Yep.
So that's my top 10.
Awesome. All right.
Honorable mentions. Ronnie.
Okay.
You're going up first.
All right. So some of mine were mentioned, so I'm not going to go over them again. But there were two that were not mentioned. I'll just do one for right now. One of mine is from Spider-Man, the newest, when we see Daredevil, or Matt Murdock, I should say.
That is one of my honorable mentions as well.
Again, it's. I feel like for your just regular fans, it's probably like whatever. But for like people like us that have known Matt Murdock, or Charlie Cox from the Netflix show, not personally. Yeah, not personally. I think just it was a beautiful tie-in because it wasn't expected.
We knew wanted.
We knew Tobey Maguire. We knew Andrew Garfield were going to be in there. But we were not expecting. We were hoping. And when you see it just like I had the biggest grin on my face in that whole interaction when he catches that brick.
He's a very good lawyer.
I'm a very good lawyer.
I think I cheered louder. Well, I know definitely in my theater down in Florida, I cheered the loudest in my theater when Matt Murdock came on. And I was more excited for that than the two Spider-Man. Other Spider-Man.
It's funny you say that because, and it's even funnier, Ronnie saying, like to the normal moviegoer, it's like, who's that? That happened in the theater. Melanie, literally, producer Melanie, she never saw the Netflix shows. Like, it's something we keep wanting to do, but the Netflix shows are a commitment.
Yes.
It's 3 seasons of Daredevil, 2 seasons of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist, The Punisher, Defenders. Like, it's a lot.
Oh, Jessica Jones had 3 seasons.
Did it? I thought it only had 2.
Yeah, they released the 3rd season right as they got canceled.
Oh, maybe I don't know. I probably did watch it. I just don't remember.
I didn't.
But like, producer Melanie leans over. She's like, "Who is that?" And I had to, I was like shocked. But then I realized, like for us, that's like the moment.
Yeah.
So
right.
Any other? All right. What is your other?
Do you want me to say?
Well, let me add then.
Yep.
Let me add an honorable mention then in there.
Go for it.
Mentioning Daredevil. I almost put this on my list. It just missed it. Was the very first hallway fight scene from the Daredevil Netflix show.
Well, I think we are going to have to do an episode on top 10 TV show moments just after this.
Yeah.
Like there's been some really good ones.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Did you have
me
more?
Again? I have one more.
Do you want? Yeah, just do all your honorable mentions.
This is kind of way out there. You guys probably would not have thought of this. No one probably did. But we're going to Wakanda. And when Shuri fakes everyone out, when they're doing their little ritual, who's going to... Who wants to fight?
And she raises her hand.
And she raises her hand and goes, how much longer so I can take this off? I think is just amazing. Like, it's so far out there. Everyone sees it and they're like, wait, you're going to fight your brother for the throne? And I don't know, just that moment gets me every time I see it. And it just sticks out. But that is my last honorable mention because the other ones were already said in other people's top 10. But I'm going to save my comment for the end because I'm kind of surprised we haven't mentioned a movie.
Okay.
Ooh.
Rob, do you want to do your honorable mentions first or you want me to?
I actually got them all. That's everything. I only had one honorable mention, which was the Wonder Woman trench suit.
All right. So honorable mentions. I did have 5. All right. The bottom, I guess the number 5,
Mm-hmm.
the movie Constantine, which is a movie that I have grown a fair amount of appreciation for over the years. Even though I'm a purist a little bit more with Constantine, I still think it's a solid movie. When he kills himself and Lucifer drops in, it is just such an awesome entrance and just scene and just the music. It's a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
From Avengers: Age of Ultron, Iron Man putting on the Hulkbuster armor. What a scene of just him just locking it all up and just getting ready to, like, not even the fight scene, which is fantastic, but just finally getting to see it. Ronnie mentioned Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home. That was one of them.
Yep.
The Shang-Chi bus scene.
Ooh, yeah.
That is just a great. It does go very Marvel-y because it starts off very solid and very grounded. But now this one should be on my top 10, but I really struggled with this list. But this is actually, it's weird because this is one of my favorite movie moments too. I don't know why I did. I think I just thought of it afterwards. A leap of faith from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Where Miles has finally put on his costume and he's on the building and like you hear all the voices and the characters and you hear Peter Parker say, "It's a leap of faith, Miles," and he does it, and the music and just such a great moment.
I actually do have one honorable mention I forgot to mention because this one just missed my list. I'm surprised actually we didn't mention this at all. It's really the last time that when the original 6 Avengers are together and happy and hanging out and doing fun things, and they're all trying to get Mjolnir to move.
Right.
And Cap moves it just a little bit, and Thor freaks out.
The mild panic on Thor's face. Yeah, that's another really good scene. I almost put, like, as an honorable mention, just any bar scene with superheroes. It's always good.
Yeah, that is good. Like, I would even argue, like, the first Suicide Squad in the bar is actually pretty good. That's really what that movie should have been.
All right, I forgot I had another one because in my head I'm thinking, all right, so I think we're all kind of, I feel like, in agreement that The Winter Soldier is probably the best comic book movie out there.
It is, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Very good, yeah.
And one of the best things from that is, hopefully I'm remembering correctly, but I'm pretty confident in The Winter Soldier.
I'll immediately call you out. Don't worry.
Thank you. Please do. Is when they're in the car and they're Bucky and Falcon are arguing.
Civil War.
Okay, that I thought it was Civil War.
Can you move your seat up, please?
Yeah, can you move your seat up? That's another honorable mention, I think, because their dynamic is probably the best dynamic we have in the MCU.
You couldn't have done that earlier. I hate you.
All right, I got a couple of honorable mentions that I did remember.
I'll
go through them quick. When in Captain America: Civil War, when Bucky grabs the motorcycle as it's moving and flips it around. I also had when Luis in Ant-Man, when he tells his stories, when Aunt May finds out about Peter being Spider-Man.
That's a good one too.
What? And then it goes to credits.
Yep. I'm surprised they didn't end Spider-Man No Way Home with that, because they did it in Far From Home also. One last honorable mention I did just think of. The shot of Captain America and Iron Man clashing in Civil War. Ripped right off the comic book cover of the shield and the repulsor blast is just fantastic.
That whole entire fight scene with those two and Bucky.
Yeah, such a great scene. Maybe we'll do top 10 superhero battles. I think that'd be a lot of fun. All right, so we are that is our list, our top 10. We are moving to Fan Feedback Friday. Ironically, Fan Feedback Friday was give us your top 3 superhero movie moments. All right, so we have, first one is from our friend Mike. Opening battle in Infinity War when Tony uses the nanotech to transform into Iron Man. Solid. When Superman learns flying Man of Steel. And can't forget about the interrogation scene from The Dark Knight. Solid. All right, going into Rob's comic book class. Let's see. Guardians Walkman scene opener.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Doctor Strange Groundhog Day in Dormammu. Going to bargain. Peter Parker yelling at Stark's suit about Tony not being around. That
was where they explained this to me, where he can't get the suit to quite work, and he's yelling if you were only still alive, then I could ask you and figure out how the suit could work. It's one of the few. It's like the first moment when Spider-Man really realizes that Tony's not around anymore.
Gotcha. All right, let's see. Andrew Garfield's "I Love You Guys" and thank you. Yeah, that is a good one. Apparently, he ad-libbed that too, which is even better.
Yes.
Intro of Spider-Man in Civil War. Hulk smashes Loki. Nice. I Am Iron Man. When Cap picks up Mjolnir. Quicksilver running scene in Sweet Dreams.
Yes.
It is, both of his super speed scenes are fantastic. You can't even Thanos snap. Infinity War, when everyone comes to save Vision and Wanda in Edinburgh. That is a great scene.
Yeah.
Thor's entrance on the battlefield of Wakanda. Let's see. Cinematic Adventures co-host Sean, this guy. Helicopter scene in Superman was his number one. Wow. I'm Batman, the 1989 version. And this one, I'm kind of surprised I got to ask Sean about this. The club scene in Blade. The very opening scene in Blade.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, with the blood coming out of the shout.
Fire sprinklers. Yeah. Solid. And then from your friend Karina, one of our top fans, Endgame final battle when literally everyone shows up through the portals on your left. Black Panther when everyone thinks Shuri is going to challenge. Oh, look at that.
All right, good call.
At that. And Civil War, any interaction between Spider-Man or
That's true. And then you have a metal arm?
That is awesome, dude.
You know what else I gotta say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, this is going off the rails right now, but in our new Spider-Man, when they're shooting the webs and they're like, "Did that come out of you?"
And then they have to ask him about it afterwards. We can't do that, so naturally we're curious. Yeah, no, man. Again, we can make like we could have easily done a top 30.
I was gonna say we all had a top 10, and I think between the three of us in honorable mentions, I think we're at like 50 moments / scenes.
Yeah,
it's a testament to how many great moments are in these movies that our list did not look exactly the same.
Yeah,
I'd say maybe like a third of it was the same. But then like we had a lot of differences, so that was really cool. So we would love to hear what you guys have to say about your favorite top 10 superhero movie moments. Ronnie, how can people tell us their top 10 superhero movie moments?
You could tell us on Facebook. Just look up the Multiverse Fancast. You can also go to our website, themisfitfaction.com, as well as our Instagram, the Misfit Faction, on there. And then obviously you can also reach out to us via our contact us on our webpage as well, where you'll find different content such as our podcast, any articles written by Rob, and Paul has some content up there, written content as well. Those are the main ways to get us, and obviously take us on the go to listen with our Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, or basically anywhere that you listen to podcast or music.
Thank you, Ronnie. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Also, keep an eye on our Facebook and our website. We have a lot of big projects that we're working on. We're going to hopefully announce our next one in the next week or so. It's something that Ronnie put a lot of work into, and Rob's excited. I think Rob's just as excited as we are because we just told him about it tonight, and he's like, "Yes." So
stick that in your fanny pack.
Yeah. Don't forget Rob's fun fact fanny pack. For every gold or a 5-star review we get on Apple or Spotify, I think we'll put that in the fun fact fanny pack for Rob.
Yes.
We got to do some sort of reward system. So if you guys are on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. I was actually looking at some of the Apple reviews today, and some people wrote some really nice things about our show on there.
Aww.
So yeah, it was really nice. So if you guys are on any of those, I mean, it's super easy. You just scroll to our page, 5 stars, 4 stars, or don't do anything less, please. But anyway.
And don't forget to check out MF Uncensored and Cinematic Avengers.
They're great shows.
They are.
I'm a big fan.
Are you?
Sometimes. But that is going to wrap us up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
And I'm Rob.
Via Zoom.
Via
Zoom. And we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
See ya.
Smoke wood!
And as always, we'll be back in a flash.